Let's talk about this international eligibility debate. It was announced this morning, one of the worst kept secrets. Payne Haas has confirmed to join Samoa. He's pledged allegiance to Samoa. I know he rang Kevy during the week and had a conversation with him and let him know. This was announced sort of through the week, and I don't think it was any surprise before the Kangaroos coach in Kevin Walters was decided. There was rumours for the last 12 months that Payne Haas was going there. But we are seeing a lot of players commit to different nations now. Robert Toya came out yesterday and has committed to Tonga. This is starting for the growing of the game.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic for the game of rugby league. The sad part is coaches, right? And I saw it just come through my feed, and David Kidwell was coaching the Kiwis a few years ago, and 7 pulled out. So he named his, 20 players. Then 7 pulled out and we're going to go play for another nation. It's not fair. The day they all become tier 1, and let's stop.
Yep.
And let's stop showing Tonga and Samoa the disrespect that we do. Like when they read out their sides, they're equal to England and Australia with the talent, and New Zealand. So they become tier 1. As I said, as a kid, I know the jersey that I wanted to wear. Don't come, I don't know now. So that's a bullshit. That's a cop-out. I know the jersey that I wanted to wear. I knew that I wanted to wear the Queensland jersey. I knew that I wanted to wear the Australian jersey. So when I was 17 or 18 and I signed with St. George and I was there, they came in a dressing room and said, "You've been picked for City." I said, "I'm a country boy, mate." They said, "You've been picked for country." And I said, "I'm a Queenslander." They put pressure on me to become a New South Welshman because I played my first games in New South Wales. So as a 19-year-old, so humans haven't changed that much. You know who you wanted to play for. So this whole thing of holding out and who am I going to get picked for, come out. I think it's better for Tonga, it's better for Samoa, and it's better for Australia so we can pick our squad now. The kids that know that they're going to get picked for these great nations, go out there, and that's where we need to be. Not sit there and I don't know who I want to play for.
I think when a player signs their first NRL contract, I think you've got to nominate your country of choice. And look, when I grew up, there was Australia, New Zealand, England, and even the French. France is long gone. Australia, New Zealand, and England, up until about 5 or 6 years ago, was all we had in the international game. And we were basically, while we had good test matches, compared to the real global rugby union soccer, we were a bit of a laughing stock. And then Tamalalo and Fafita very unselfishly gave up their Australian and New Zealand jerseys and chose to play for Tonga. And that's opened the floodgates and has given us a serious international game amongst the Pacific Islands and the countries I mentioned. You know what else I'm hoping? With PNG coming into our competition in the not-too-distant future, I'm hoping in 10 years' time we'll have a PNG test side to add to the ones I've just mentioned. We will have a great international rugby league game. We'll sell it for huge television rights. It'll be more money for development pathways. And I do not care. I'm actually happy that people like Payne Haas and Stephen Crichton
I'm ecstatic.
Are so proud of their heritage that they want to play for their countries.
And you're right there, Buzz. There's so much room for us to grow as a sport in terms of the international calendar, the fixtures. I know the Ashes is happening, and I'm super excited about that. But there's a series here in Australia and New Zealand between the Kiwis, Samoa, and Tonga that is going to be must-see rugby league action. I can't wait to be tuning in. I'm going to be staying up in the early hours of the morning over in England just to tune in and watch that. I think
I might be with you.
It's getting to the stage now where there's a number of forwards going and playing for Samoa and Tonga. People may be nominating wanting to put their hand up to defect and play for Australia. The competition is that strong with some of those Samoan and Tongan forwards. And all I can say is, look, I'm an immigrant in this country. I've got two daughters. If one of those chose to represent themselves to play for England in any particular sport or whatever it may be, I can't imagine how proud I'd be if they go on to have children and their children, if they elect to represent their heritage in England. I can only imagine the pride that I would have.
Absolutely.
So I get a full understanding of that. Look, I think most immigrants appreciate what Australia, the country, does for us. It's a magnificent place to call home, but we've all got those, all those ties to our country of origin, our country of birth, the countries that laid the foundation for us. And I think it's fantastic that they're choosing to represent people that have paved the way to have them have these fantastic lives in Australia.
Can I ask you, though, and to the players here, and Buzz, I'll keep you out of this one. When you play Origin, if they're all Tier 1, does that change your Origin eligibility then? Because if we bring them all Tier up...
It's not even about Queensland.
No, but
Temalalo and that gave up a country.
Yeah.
And Andrew Fafita gave up a country. That's bigger than Queensland and New South Wales. So let's just say I would rather lose, and I'll say it again, I'll say it until I take my last breath, I'd rather lose as a Queenslander than win as an international side. And these are the best kids playing around our game. And let's just don't worry about the product. We've played as Queensland, we've stood as Queensland, and we lost for 60 years as Queensland. It doesn't mean that I'm not a Queenslander. And I think that's where we got to get to. Like, we've got enough talent and we've got enough here that we can go out there and compete with our best. And look at the Tommy Deardens and the Gilberts and the Plass and all those kids coming through. Yeah, it might not be, but if you generally put on English, Kiwi, Aussie jersey and you go to play and it's a 50-50 or Samoa and Tonga are the favourites, how big is that for our game?
It's huge.
Hold on. This isn't right, what you're just saying, Gordy, because Payne Haas, Stephen Crichton, Jerome Luai, they all grew up as kids in Australia, played their junior football here.
You can't play both, Buzz.
You can't play both. You'll kill Origin. You lose 50% of the competition.
You won't kill Origin.
You will kill Origin.
Buzz,
these kids grew up here in Sydney's western suburbs as fans of the New South Wales Blues.
Can I ask
they
what
should be able to
that?
play Origin.
Can I ask what country's that?
What are you talking about? Sorry, what?
What country did they grow up in?
They grew up, they were born in Australia. They were born in Sydney's
western
western
suburbs. Okay, well, you play for Australia?
No. They're entitled.
You play for Australia.
But that'll kill international football if we tell them to. You've got to.
Well, don't kill Origin.
It's not killing Origin.
Buzz,
Jerome Luai and Payne Haas
give
and
those
these
young
boys,
Queensland kids, right, with the dream to want to play for their country, give them the jersey.
But Origin is no longer a selection trial for the Australian side.
Then you've got to let England players come in. Herbie Farmworth could come in.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
No, he couldn't, Dobbin.
Well,
the rule is if you were born here...
He would not qualify.
If you were born here or you played your football here under the age of 12, you can play State of Origin. We should not discriminate against these boys.
We're not.
Because they're choosing to go to Samoa or Tonga and build our international game. They went to school here. They played their junior football here. They were born here.
Well, mate,
no,
you're fighting
I
against
want
your
them to
argument.
play for their heritage.
Well, then if you choose that, you give up the right to play for that little state.
But I think, Gordy,
you give up the right to play for our little state.
So you're saying the international game's bigger than State of Origin?
No,
which
well,
is
it's
not. The prestige now of Origin has overtaken the international game. And
okay, so let's just put this scenario there. The internationals get that big. We want to have a mid-season test match. Who do they choose then? What do Queensland do? What do New South Wales do?
Well, what I'm saying to you now, Gordy, is this, okay? And
mate, what do they put on? What do they put on in international games?
No, just let me say this.
It won't get to that, but I think you can be as passionate and as committed as playing for New South Wales and playing for Tonga or Samoa, play for Queensland and Samoa.
But the game has changed, Gordy, since you played. We now have a 50% Polynesian player playing NRL rugby league.
Just pick who you want to play for.
It's all right for people. And look,
if you pick Queensland, it's not hard, Buzz. It's not discrimination. If you want to play for Australia, go through where everybody has for 100 years.
Yeah, okay.
You play for Queensland and you play for Australia.
I guarantee you, if you wipe out 50% of the competition saying, no, you have chosen the Pacific Nations, you will not get your 4 million people watching State of Origin. I can absolutely guarantee. Because when I turn that game of rugby league on, I want to see the best players, as long as they were born here or played their footy as kids here.
So, like a guy like Tino Gordy, who's grew up in Queensland, passionate Queenslander.
Yep.
but wants to play for Samoa.
Well, that's not 100% true yet. I don't think.
well,
I don't think Tino. I think Tino will play for
I think
Australia.
Arthur Beetson gave Tino's dad like his first start. I think then he was went to Orange. He was born in Orange, then moved out to where
He went to
Dolby?
Gympie. He's in Gympie. This is
Mate, like a
Tino.
Gympie
So
boy?
Tino's uncommitted. Have a listen to this. This was Tino when asked about whether or not he would defect.
No. I've been in rehab. It's pretty hard to think about football when you're not playing football. So I just want to get out there and play good for the Titans and worry about that later on. But haven't thought about any of that.
Okay, well, let's just say.
I don't think he'll defect. I don't think he'll defect.
All right, relax. I'm playing a hypothetical here. Like, if he chooses Samoa, should he have to give up his Queensland jersey?
Of course, he shouldn't.
Yeah.
You think he should, Gordy?
Well, that's the choice.
Gordy,
If
I'll
I
tell you
chose to
something.
play for so if he chooses to play for New Zealand, where he was born, does he have to give up the Australian jersey and Queensland jersey?
No, because he didn't.
Oh, no, 'cause they're
I'm
tier
not
one.
talking about Kiwi players. I'm not talking about Kiwi players who've lived all their life in New Zealand. I'm talking about the people who grew up here. And I don't care if Tino goes and plays. I'd be proud of him if he did. I want to tell you this.
It would be better
Australia,
for
the
our game.
Kangaroos, played the Tri-Nations last year. And you know what? Tino wasn't there. Payne Haas wasn't there, and we still won the final against Tonga. We will get over it. We have the biggest breeding ground in the world. Let these kids play for their state if they grew up here and play for their countries.
Like, I wouldn't have a
So
problem
then
with
what happens then, right, is Tonga and Samoa take up what is supposed to be stepping stones for Australia. So those guys like Tommy Dearden, they don't get the experience to play State of Origin. So all those kids that grow up that actually want to use it as a stepping stone, sorry, mate, you can't play for Queensland because these guys are better. But then when it comes to Australia,
Gordy,
here's your first rep side is Australia.
With respect, I think that's
Well, that's what it could get
selfish.
to.
I think that's a selfish
No, it's not.
attitude to make Australia the way it used to be, a superpower with no competition.
It's
That's
not
the
a
way it used to
superpower.
be.
It's not a
Buzz.
superpower, Buzz, because those
If I
players
go
are
play
committed
in
to the
England, I
international
can't play
game.
for Lancashire or Yorkshire because I'm a better player.
Well, you
I
tell me
couldn't
this.
play for him.
You tell me this. Victor Radley, right? Born, bred, Clavelli, played for the
Yep.
Crocodile, whatever his junior rugby league club. Grew up as a tradie in that.
His
played
choice.
for the Eastern Suburbs Roosters. Because he's so proud of his dad's heritage, he chose to play for England. That's
Fine.
cost him an origin spot is a joke.
Well, even Caleb Ponga, for me, he should be allowed to play for New Zealand and play for Queensland. I'm with you, boys.
Jammer.
No.
No way.
I can't keep
No.
coaching you, Dobbo. I'm trying to help you.
No,
I
well, last
can't-
week you were
Buzz.
wrong.
Hey,
I'm
Buzz,
sorry.
do you know what? And this is no disrespect. I'm the only one that wore the jersey.
Yeah.
And mate,
Right.
that's why I
So
said
that doesn't
it
mean
with
I'd have a bigger
respect.
opinion than you, but I'd rather lose being a little skinny kid from Townsville, and I'd rather see the next little skinny kid from Townsville get the opportunity to wear the jersey.
Yeah, but my
and that's what
point
you're
is-
stopping.
and that's
that's
why
what
I
you're
said-
stopping.
that's
I
why
got there.
I
I got a competition. I want those kids to get a chance.
Yeah, but
not the
that's why-
biggest kids in the schoolyard to keep on dominating. So they go play for their country. And they get that right. And they can sit there and I watch the tears roll down their eyes. But the little kid, the little skinny kid that's battling in the back blocks can come and he gets tears down his eyes and his parents sit there and he represents Queensland. And if that's the biggest and the best he gets, I don't want to stop that.
Well,
so that's
I'll
discrimination.
say,
then, if you say that they can't do that.
No. I'll say this: that those kids you're talking about, and you genuinely care for them and their futures in rugby league and the pathway to the top, they will get an opportunity if they're good enough. They really will. But look. When you played rugby league for Australia so proudly, when you played for Queensland, you played St George, you played the Broncos, great career. But when you were playing, we probably had 30% Polynesians. When
That's
I
right.
started
I
covering
played against
rugby
Sonny
league,
Bill.
yeah, exactly.
I played against Adrian Morley.
I know
they
you
were
did,
guns.
but when I
They
started
added
covering
to
the
our-
game, there were 3
Yep.
or 4 Polynesians in the whole competition. It's growing to
Mark
the
Graham,
betterment
Olsen
of our
Filipano.
sport. Yeah, it's and it's for the betterment of our sport, and we need to leave all pathways open to all representative football as long as there's one criteria. You were born in Australia or you played your first junior football in Australia.
You're talking like State of Origin was broke. It's not broke. It's been
You know
the
what?
biggest
It's not
and most
broke
watched
because
game. It's been the
Brighton,
biggest
Luai,
and most watched game. No, mate, when
No,
Wally
that's
Lewis
not
and
right.
Brett Kenny played against each other, when Laurie Daly and Alan Langer played, it was never broke. Right?
The only thing is, Gordy,
It's not broke. So it's not not watchable, so we don't need to play. We've got the players.
Yeah, the players are there, but if those players are forced into that decision about whether or not to represent their country of heritage and New South Wales or Queensland, because it's so incentivized to play state of origin, it is on the pinnacle. I don't know if you can force players into that decision, because I think we'd see players not choosing to represent Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, etc., because of the law of state of origin. And we know that is such a beast that I think it'd be unfair to say to Tino, mate, if you're going to play
Why is it?
Because it's so lucrative to play state of origin.
Oh, so now you're picking our jersey because of the money.
No, Gordy, what if
So
I...
there's the point. So
Gordy,
not the money.
So
I'm saying
because when you grew up when you're 8 and you went and bought the jersey and that's the only jersey you ever wanted to wear.
I didn't say money. I'd say lucrative as in like everything that it brings. Like everything.
Yeah. Gordy, what if I said to you...
So then it goes back to that they're only playing because of the money.
Gordy, what if I said to you that the light blue, sky blue New South Wales jersey with the number 6 on the back meant as much to Jerome Luai as the Samoa jersey with the number 6 on? The reason
the
being,
easiest way to do it, because Jimmy just alluded to it,
but his hero
don't get paid for state of origin.
He had no one.
See who picks to play for Queensland and New South Wales.
Samoa didn't have a rugby league team when he was growing up.
Now they do.
And guess what? His heroes were Laurie Daly and Brad Fittler.
When I was growing up, there wasn't state of origin until I was 7. Same story, Buzz.
Hey, Gordy.
Jerome Luai, if
I'm
everybody
singing
was
from
fit,
the same choir here.
Let's be fair, if everybody's fit, Jerome Luai ain't in that sky blue jersey.